Hello, everyone. Are we live? Can you hear us and see us? Let us know. Please comment so we can have your feedback because it means a lot to us. I'll wait just a couple more moments and then we will start just to make sure that everyone is here. And then we can start with our really exciting topic. You can hear it on the screen now, replacing currencies with euro, Croatia and Bulgaria. So, okay, Nikolina, Alexander, you're good? You are ready?
All is
Yes.
good.
Okay, then maybe we shall start. Okay, we have one comment. Thank you, Valentina, so much. Then maybe I should start. And first of all, to say welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Retail Talks. And I must say that I'm really excited about today's topic because we will talk about the situations in the neighborhood. And as you probably know, or maybe not, we are currently speaking from our head office in Serbia. So it would be nice to hear from you. Where are you from? So please comment. You have the chat box and feel free to type. To introduce myself, my name is Milica and I'm a marketing manager at Fiscal Solutions. And I'm your host today. If you have any problems with the LinkedIn, make sure you go on our YouTube channel because the live stream is also there, or vice versa. So these kind of events are pretty special because we have a lot of interaction with you. So we focus on giving you the right information, but also to answer all of the questions. And of course, I'm not alone today. I have one more lady with us and one gentleman. His name is Alexander and her name is Nikolina. So guys, maybe we should start with your introduction. If you want to say something about yourself, that would be really nice. Maybe Nikolina.
Ladies first.
Yeah.
Thank you, Milice, and thank you, Alexander. Hello, everyone. My name is Nikolina Basic, and I am legal consultant at Fiscal Solutions. Today, we're going to talk about introduction of euro in Bulgaria. I am in charge, let's say, for fiscalization in Bulgaria, but not only in Bulgaria, also with another countries. But today, I think that we will introduce major changes, and I'm really glad that I'm not alone because my dear colleague Alexander is also with me, and we will share our knowledge and experience from Croatia to Bulgaria. So stay tuned.
Great. Thank you, Nikolina. And please, Alexander, introduce yourself also.
Well, thank you both. So I'm Alexander Marinkovic. I'm legal consultant here at Fiscal Solutions. So there are many countries that I cover. One of them is Croatia, who just recently introduced euro as official currency. And as I like to say, I'm a professional spammer when it comes to news articles and documents regarding Croatia, Czech Republic, Slovenia, and so on, and even e-commerce in European Union.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, yes, that's the thing that I didn't mention. So, our legal consultants are covering countries. So, like Nikolina is a legal specialist in some certain countries, Alexander in some other. Yeah, so this is why we have two guests today, both Nikolina and Alexander, because Alexander will tell us more about the Croatia and Nikolina will tell us more about the Bulgaria. So that's something you should know. And of course, they're covering more countries than just one. But maybe we will talk about it next time. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to type. I'm saying that once again, just in case if someone joined us like now. Okay, I want to give you just like a few more organizational points. And that is that we're streaming both on LinkedIn and YouTube. So I mentioned that also like a few moments ago. If there is any problem with LinkedIn, because we had problems, yes, I think the last time, then please go switch to our YouTube channel and you can watch us there. Also, it's important to mention that this is, of course, recording. So you will be able to watch it as many times as you like, because this is live event and it will be saved on both platforms, LinkedIn and YouTube. Okay, before we start, I'd like to give you like short introduction about fiscal solutions, who we are and why are we talking about this topic? Why do we think we should talk about this topic? So Fiscal Solutions is a company that is 20 years old, and we are active in 24 countries, but I would say 25 now. I'm not sure if I should discover that, but if you want to know which one is a new country, you should go and visit our fiscal portal. Mainly in Europe, but also I must say that maybe that will change soon, because we are doing a research on Africa. We covered Ghana and Zimbabwe, right, Nicolina? You and I, we had fiscal talk on Zimbabwe topic, and Tara covered Ghana. So that is also something that so that is something that is really interesting. Maybe you will tell us more about it later if we have enough time. Also, what is important to mention around Fiscal Solutions is that we are working with the biggest international retailers and POS software vendors. And I should say that fiscalization is our core business. It's something that gives a headache to everyone, but we love it. And we call ourselves hackers, but like good ones. So don't be afraid. Means that we keep tracking every fiscal update, changes in fiscal laws, and trying to prepare our clients for it. So we have like 4 products, and that's all. We don't want like to go in every like single sphere. It's just you can go visit our fiscal portal for the information. After that, you can have some of our legal consultants to hold workshops for you. If you find it significant for your business case, then you can integrate our middleware. And at the end of the process, you can have our fiscal hotline actually support. So I think that will be enough for now, because I think we should start with today's topic. And once again, the topic is replacing currencies with euro. So we wanted to name it like this, Croatia and Bulgaria. And I guess that maybe some of you are puzzled because of this. But the thing is that most of you know that Croatia introduced euro as official currency instead of kuna. So Alexander covers Croatia, and I wanted to start with the Croatia, of course. So Alexander, I will put the first question, and that is how that looked like. What was the process? Do you have any inside information to share with us? Because now it's almost like that was like a few months ago. So do you have something interesting to share with us for the very first moment? Let's start with that.
Where actually there are a lot of information, so it's at this point it's easier for me to share information than to cover the information, let's say it like that. So the real task here is just to tell as much and as little as possible at the same time, because we don't have that much time here. So first of all, I think that we really need to think about it, what a historical significant moment this is. You know, we have a situation when one country actually shifted or changed its national currency and changed for in another currency. So it's really a historical moment in every sense. And now after Croatia, we also have Bulgaria as the next country. So we already have experience here at Fiscal Solution for covering this kind of, let's say, situation. And now we have actually opportunity to compare between 2 countries. So I find this really exciting, and there are a lot of things to talk about it. But at this point, I would maybe just state a brief history of what steps did Croatia take and how the whole process actually looked like. So I know that most of people take 1st January of 2023 as historical date for this introduction of Euro and Croatia, but from my perspective, that's actually 5th September of 2022. And why did I take that exact date? Well, it was the date when the mandatory dual displaying of prices started. So that was the very first moment when we actually had some experience, or we could experience how will the dual displaying or even the displaying of prices in euro will look like in Croatia. So this was the first moment when we actually saw on those labels in supermarkets or in some other stores the prices in euro. So it was really significant moment. Now there are a lot of steps and a lot of things that happened before 5th of September and after 5th of September 2022. So I would just now go even further. So basically, in order for a member state to adopt the euro as its official currency, certain criteria actually need to be met. So the criteria for the introduction of a common currency, euro, are set actually back in 1992 in Maastricht Treaty. That is also called, so these criteria are also called the Maastricht criteria, and they are often referred to as nominal convergence criteria. So we basically have had, and in this case for Bulgaria, we still have 4 criteria, and they relate to price stability, sustainability of public finances, exchange rate stability, and the convergence of long-term interest rates. So the very next, or let's say the very first important date in this process regarding Croatia and introduction of euro was actually January 17, 2022, when we actually had, or the draft of the law on introduction of the euro as official currency in Republic of Croatia was published. So it was just a draft. It was, let's say, the first version or the first published version of that law. And also guidelines for adjusting the economy in the process of replacing the Croatian kuna with euro was published on that date. So here at Fiscal Solution, we actually started following and researching this topic more than a year ago. So this was the first moment when we actually had some document that we can go through regarding Croatia and introduction of euro. So in those 2 documents, there were 5 main principles that were stated, and they are the principle of consumer protection, the principle of prohibition of unjustified price increase, the principle of continuity of legal instruments, the principle of efficiency and economy, and the last one was the principle of transparency and information. So we can really see that consumers were in main focus of this transition. The next very important date was May 25th, 2022. So on that date, the final version of the law on introduction of euro was actually published, and the before mentioned guidelines for adjusting economy were actually updated. And in order for the Croatian government to start, let's say, the process of and to set the date of mandatory dual displaying, there was still one decision from European Union needed, or better said, from European Union Council. And that decision that they needed was actually adopted on July 12, 2022, and later on July 21st, 2022, the Republic of Croatia actually published the decision to announce the introduction of the euro. So these were the steps before that historical date of 5th September 2022, and on that date, so the mandatory dual displaying of prices actually started. So this means that all prices in all retail businesses, let's say, or better said, in all businesses that are oriented towards consumers. So all prices had to be dually displayed, meaning both in kuna and in euros. So this was just a way for consumers to be familiarized with prices in euro, and actually so that they have some time, to see those prices, and so that they can feel or see which product will have what price will each product have in euros. And then, so after the September 5th, 2022, we had two other really important periods. So on the January 1st, 2023, euro was officially introduced as official currency in Republic of Croatia, but still we had a period of dual circulation. That means that in that period, both kuna and euro were in circulation, and that period lasted from 1st January until 14th January. And later on, or better said now, at this moment, we have this period after the dual circulation where only euro is being used as official currency. So more or less, that would be some, let's say, historical overview of this process and how everything actually looked in Croatia during this transition, let's call it like that, period.
Okay, thank you. So I'm listening to you, and of course, it's somehow logical that such legal changes take years to implement, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Just a short question. What do you think? For how long they actually planned to do that, to introduce euro?
I think it was the process itself. I think that it lasted for at least 2 or 3 years. I'm not really sure, but I think that when I researched this topic, that the earliest date that I actually found was like somewhere around 2019, 2020. So it was a long process.
Yeah, I believe that. That's why I asked. I just wanted to hear your opinion from the legal perspective. Definitely. I guess that these changes aren't really easy to implement.
No.
Okay, so I have one more question because you mentioned like kuna and euro and like both price displays and stuff like that. So there were actually some interesting decisions about the process of the introduction with kuna withdrawals. So what do you think? Was that successful?
Yeah, actually, there were a lot of different decisions. So some of them were on the side of the Council of European Union, and other decisions were on Croatian side. So basically, the two most important documents, or let's say, or regulations, were the law itself and the guidelines actually for adjusting the common economy of the process. So those two were the two most important documents on Croatian side, and later on they will, let's say, the same document, but it was first adopted on the European Union level and then on Croatian. That's the decision actually to adopt or announcement to introduce the euro as official currency. And when we are talking about process around kuna withdrawals, so this period of dual circulation was the most important one. So in this whole process, actually, we can say that actually everything came down to these 2 weeks. So from 1st of January until 14th of January, we had both currencies, kuna and euro, in circulation, but there were certain rules. So the consumers could only pay in kuna, but retailers could only give back change in euros. So this was the critical or the crucial moment for removing, let's say like that, kuna from a Croatian market. And I think it was extremely successful. So I even had opportunity to be in Croatia around 10th of January. So I had like opportunity to experience these first transactions of euro in Croatia, and I talked to cashiers, asked them, so what's their opinion, what's their experience, and they generally didn't have any problems. So they were just telling me, yeah, everything is okay. People are handing in kunas, we are handing over euros, and that's it. And if someone is paying with card, then everything is even easier.
Okay,
Maybe
I'm
they
glad.
thought that you are. Maybe they thought that you are some inspector.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awkward also to my mind.
I'm
I guess
joking.
it's
You
not
look
that
like
common.
one. You look
Yeah.
like one.
I guess it's not that common for someone to step in the store and ask questions like that.
Maybe I can pay with card or no. Can you give me a receipt to see? I'm joking,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Professional deformation.
Yeah, nerdy me, let's say it like that.
Yeah, great. I have one, I would say, controversial question.
Okay.
And that is considering that I have heard many such comments. Do you think that the introduction of the euro is the reason for the current inflation in Croatia?
Short answer would be definite no. So why would I say like that? I think this was really misfortunate period for this kind of transition. So on one hand, we already knew that euro is going to be introduced as official currency, and unfortunately, high interest rates and inflation came around just at the same period. So I understand why people actually say, okay, because of the euro now we have inflation, because when we had kuna we didn't have inflation, but it's just misfortunate situation. So I would say definitely no, the introduction of euro did not cause the inflation or did result in Croatia having this high step percentage of inflation.
Okay, great. Thank you. I actually heard a lot of comments about it when we were on Euroshop in Düsseldorf this year. So that question came up to my mind, and I wanted to make it clear when we are discussing this topic and to see what is your comment of that, because I know that you've done a lot of research and you do it like 2 or 3 years. So I think that your answer is definitely valuable. So thank you for that. And of course, before we go to Bulgaria, I have one more question for you, and that is to tell us what is the current situation in Croatia. Do you have any information about how both retailers and consumers have adapted to this change? And then we should move on.
Yeah, well, actually, again, I was lucky enough to be in Croatia for the weekend. So I have a first-hand, again, information about it. So what I actually realized when I, as a foreigner, especially went to Croatia and wanted to pay in euros, for me, it was more easier than when they had kuna. Now I didn't have to go to exchange office to exchange euro to kuna or something like that. So I could just go to store and buy. But what was really interesting for me was actually how different retailers found different solutions to meet legal obligations. So in Croatia, we have this situation where the law states that all totals still have to be displayed in kuna as well. So on your receipt, you will have all your items listed with prices in euro, and the total will be both in euro and kuna. And what I actually realized is that some of retailers did it that way, but others actually stated prices in kuna for each item on receipt. So you would have milk, euro kuna, chocolate, euro kuna, and everything was like that. And then afterwards, all the totals again were both in euro and kuna. So here we can see maybe some kind of problem. So I guess maybe the law was not clear enough, or maybe they just didn't understand what their obligations are, so we can see two different approaches to same problem. So this was really, really interesting for me to see.
Definitely, I can only imagine. Okay, great. Thank you, Alexander, for the short overview of the current situation in Croatia and the brief overview of that previous period that happened not a long time ago. So I would, of course, I would like to ask you if that is okay. If something huge happens, please inform us.
I will do my best.
Okay, great. Thank you. I would like actually to move on to Bulgaria at a moment because that is something that is currently happening, or maybe it's not happening, but it will happen. So that's why Nicolina is here with us. So Nicolina, you're covering Bulgaria and you're doing a research of it on a daily level. So can you tell us more about their currency and what were the rumors about? Since we heard Bulgaria also wanted to introduce euro.
Of course, Milice. First, I want to thank Alexander for this great introduction. Basically, we here at Fiscal Solutions, he is my dear colleague, and we are, let's say, monitoring all these changes together. And his approach was really good example for me to see and to handle this switching to the best possible way. So thank you, Alexander. I didn't want to stop him, but a lot of things that happen in Croatia basically are announced in Bulgaria, but I will tell about that a little bit later. So basically, yes, currently Bulgaria have their own currency, and that is Bulgarian lev. But although they are member state of the European Union, it has not adopted a euro currency yet, but they will. And it is definitely a plan. And basically, it depends about joining Bulgaria into Eurozone and also to fulfill another requirements before they introduce euro as official currency. Pretty similar as Alexander told us a little bit history about this topic and when everything has started. The rumors was in 2020, in 2021, especially in 2022. But I would say that situation in Bulgaria is not really clear right now. For example, we have a certain meetings in 2021, and the first, let's say, date which they announced, it was that euro will be present in Bulgaria as official currency from January 1st, 2024. And also pretty similar as in Croatia, the introduction was planned to be with transition period, with some dual price which will be placed, some rumors about conversion rate and things like that. But this is not still officially confirmed, which is really important to state. And maybe the most important thing is that latest information state that the adoption of euro will be from 2025, not from 2024, how it is planned from the beginning. So to summarize, the Bulgaria intends to accept euro as official currency, and that probably will be from January 1st, 2025, but we need still to wait about official confirmation, deadlines, and regulations. What is also known is that basically the more regulations are expected, but maybe to add, like on your question, Milice, for Alexander, the situation why this is not happening, let's say how it is firstly planned, the reasons are current inflation situation and some other steps for Bulgaria from the political and economic requirements which they need to fulfill before they join the Eurozone and before they introduce euro as official currency. But also what is, let's say, certainly, and that this is a huge project, because this will affect entire Bulgaria. And already we can see some work, not only from the legislation perspective, but from others. For example, National Bank of Bulgaria are working on it. They are in process of creating a special website on where this procedure from their perspective will be introduced. So basically, that is, I think, for the beginning of my talk, that Bulgaria probably will introduce euro not from 2024, but from 2025.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I wanted to jump in and ask, can you tell us what is the main reason? But you mentioned it on your own. So thank you for that. I also didn't want to interrupt you, but we had one comment. Diana told us Bulgaria does not want to. So Diana would like to know why. So please feel free to type in a chat box.
It would be
What do you
really
think?
interesting. Sorry, Melissa. It would be really interesting to hear from someone from Bulgaria the reasons not to introduce euro.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Why?
Yeah, because there were some situations in Croatia as well where people didn't want to introduce euro, but now I would also like to hear from Bulgarian perspective, why is this such a bad idea or a bad move?
Maybe while we're waiting for the answer, I can say that, of course, it is a really major project and it will require a lot of votes in the national embassy and with other, let's say, legal perspective. This is also, as already mentioned, depends about joining Bulgaria into Eurozone. A lot of conditions must be met before that, depending on political, economic situation, because all businesses will require changing, all sectors like financial, banking, trade, fiscalization. But it is really important to state that what is certainly no, I already said that we need to wait official law and official dates and official regulations, but from the Ministry of the Finance in Bulgaria, they introduced some concept of the law, which I will talk a little bit later what it defines. But also with that concept, they already introduced certain rules and how this will, let's say, be handled. Also, they announced that it will be a special bodies like consumer protection commissions and commissions for financial supervisions. They will monitor this change and compliance with these rules. So it is pretty similar as in Croatia. Consumers will be on the first, let's say, step to not be, let's say, do not have any problems or different circumstances in this topic. Also, what is maybe the newest is that at the beginning of this month, in the ministry, they had a little conference known as Bulgaria in the Eurozone, what is next for businesses. And also their ministry said that this, let's say, this introduction of euro will favor business by stimulating with different investments, and it will let's say, introduce the whole integration process in the common European market, and it will be, of course, really hard for the country. Also, the normative basis is really important because the law on the introduction of Euro Bulgaria is still not adopted or published. So, also, as I already mentioned, another institutions like National Bank, the Financial Supervisor Commission, the National Revenue Agency, which is really important for the fiscalization, the Ministry of Economy, they all are included in this preparations. So we will see how that will be handled, definitely.
Definitely, I'm listening to you and I'm reading a comment Diana answered to us. And somehow it seems like this is a political, let's say, thing. This was her answer, and I think it's also historical significance, same as in Croatia, when we have something for so long, and when it's tradition, it's hard to replace it with something that is trend, if I could say like that. But it seems like introducing a euro in the Balkans is becoming a trend, definitely. Okay, great. I have one more, I would say, interesting topic, because we are working in a field of fiscalization. So I would like to get an answer from you, Nikolina. What do you think, how this change will affect fiscalization in Bulgaria? Because those are like connected.
Yes, thank you, Milica, for the question. This is really important, and maybe the major topic for us, because we are working in different fiscalization environments, and the fiscalization is the part which we are monitoring, especially because it is our, let's say, major field. Of course, it will change and affect the fiscalization, I would say, a lot. Because firstly, I need to introduce, I believe, of some of our listeners are already familiar, but in Bulgaria, we have hardware-based fiscalization system, and that means that we have to use their predefined homologized fiscal devices. Mostly they are fiscal printers, which are connected with the POS applications. Issuing a fiscal receipt there is a must. Fiscal receipt has their own elements which are predefined by the law. On the fiscal receipt, we can see prices, we can see payment media, we can see a lot of elements, and all of these major elements will be affected with this change in Bulgaria. Also, all fiscalization related regulations must be changed if this, let's say, definitely happened. This is a lot of work, because we have a fiscal device from another side, we have POS application from another side, the official regulations are still awaited, but we had a concept of the law, which I already mentioned, and some informations are introduced in that concept. Basically, what is clear, let's say, from the concept is that the conversion of prices from leva to euro will be free of charge. And as already mentioned, this should not put the consumer in financially worse position that he would be in if the euro had not been introduced. Definitely, it's not allowed for traders or producers, including banks and other financial services, to increase the price of goods or services from consumers when the euro will be, let's say, alive. Special chapter will be, let's say, dedicated to consumer protection. We also there have a fixed rate, which is predefined. Also, what is known is that all amounts will be rounded up to 2 decimal places, and we have special rules about that. The rate should be fixed. Maybe what is really important to state is that also, as pretty similar how it was in Croatia, and Alexander explained it really well, it will be so-called period of double circulation of leva and euro. So during this period, citizens and businesses will be able to pay in leva, but traders will have to return the change in euro. So basically the same thing as it was in Croatia. Also, during the first 1 month from the date of the introduction of euro, from the official date, they will be in circulation, euro and lev in the same time, but during the time only the euro will remain as only currency in Bulgaria. Also, in that concept of the law, we have a lot of, let's say, non-fiscalized informations, but they are, of course, really important from the other business perspectives. But basically, from the fiscalization perspective, I must say that we here at Fiscal Solutions are really monitoring all of this, and we are in contact with the manufacturers of the fiscal devices, with POS software providers. We are all in touch, let's say, to see how this certainly, and how this, let's say, affect really fiscalization, only fiscalization. For example, if we have a fiscal printer, which is let's say, the most used fiscal device in Bulgaria, it needs to be changed. This not only from that perspective, also from the POS level. So in the fiscal device, we need to have a new parameters because of euro. Fiscal reports from the fiscal memory must be changed. That XML for communication between fiscal device and the National Revenue Agency server will also need to be changed and needs to support that multi-currency. This will also require probably a rehomologation of the fiscal devices, and that will affect all fiscal device in general, fiscal device in gas station, for example, in vending machines. So yes, it will be really huge from the fiscalization perspective. Also, Alexander already mentioned about the prices. Prices of goods and services for 1 month will be in leva and in euro. It will last certain time. We'll see how that it will be handled when official law is introduced. Of course, all the prices, amounts, totals will be in euro. Change, as already mentioned, will be given only in euro. Also, from the POS perspective, we also have 2 currencies from one time. It will affect total amounts, cash payment, cash in and cash out transactions. A POS software probably will be changed. So definitely from the fiscalization perspective, we are waiting for major changes if all of this, and when officially it will be, let's say, live.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought in the first place. That's why I asked this question, because I know that these are really close related topics, fiscalization and all of these things, payment methods and stuff like that. They're going hand in hand. And I would like to ask Alexander for his opinion. What do you think first about a postponement, and what do you think about this action on fiscalization according to your experience with Croatia?
Well, when we're talking about postponement, it's a logical step at this point. And why am I saying that? Well, let's go back to that 4 basic criteria. So you need to meet 4 basic criteria, which are price stability, sustainability of public finances, exchange rate stability, and convergence of long-term interest rates. And we are living in a period where we are changing our interest rates on weekly basis. That will affect exchange rate, that will affect prices. So it is really logical at this point for Bulgaria to postpone this introduction of euro. And now I'm reading Diana's commentary, and I would also like to address that as well. I think that Greece experience is great reminder and can be used as a great reminder what will happen if one country is not 100% ready to adopt euro as official currency. And now we see Bulgaria postponing this. So we really can see that that some lessons were learned from Greek experience. And now we see a successful transition of Croatia, and now we have the next Bulgaria as a country that will introduce euro. I think that all countries that want to introduce euro can learn both from Greece and Croatia, and we will see how this period or how this transition will go in Bulgaria. But I think that there are a lot of data that they can use so that they do this perfectly. And when we are talking about the influence of this introduction of euro on fiscalization, I must say that I was pretty lucky to cover Croatia, because Croatia has online fiscalization. So I think that it's the most, let's say, advanced type of fiscalization, or in some sense the easiest, because everything is done online in real time. There is communication between taxpayers and tax authorities. So there were just slight adjustments in fiscalization process, and this did not have any effect on what kind of device you use in your store or something like that. So these were just minor changes. But still, those changes had to be made as well. So it does affect fiscalization. And I think that from one country to another, it depends on which level that effect will be.
Also, I need to add, I'm sorry, Alexander, if I interrupt you. He made a good point. Croatia has online fiscalization system, and it is pretty different from the hardware-based fiscalization system, which we have in Bulgaria, because as I already mentioned, we have a fiscal device as a hardware which needs to be changed. We have POS application, we have a lot of things and more mandatory steps to pass to go to that moment where euro is introduced. Also, I see that Diana also stated they had elections. Yeah, this is probably reason why they postponed this and why the official regulations are still not published, because I think that basically something which is really known is that about the elections and about the government and about their work, it will majorly affect how this flow will be in Bulgaria. Also, that affects about the introduction of regulations, because they all need to be voted and so on. So basically, yes, that is something that I would like to add on about your question about if we compare Croatia and Bulgaria from the fiscalization perspective.
Yeah, and if I might add one more thing, I think that we are all forgetting, especially now in Bulgaria. Maybe Nikolina have some better information than I do, but I know that in Croatia they really invested a lot of time and effort to educate citizens about this transition. So this is really, let's say, key moment for people to accept this, because we always have this sentiment, we have our national currency, and now we're changing for something that is common, that there is in Germany, in France, in Italy. So now we're becoming part of something, and we were unique because of this, our national currency. So we really need to take also those steps, and I think that Bulgarian government will have huge tasks to educate to people and to just let's say present to them euro so that they can accept as something that is very normal for them.
Yes, that's true, Alexander. They are already working on it. I mean, I see the rumors, I see the announcements, and I see that they are working on it, not only from a fiscalization perspective, but also I mentioned about National Bank of Bulgaria, and I believe that certain websites or certain instructions will be published before the official date. So yes, it is really important also, and I believe it will happen in Bulgaria.
This was the great introduction to my next question. And my next question is, what do you think about the adoption of a new currency? Is that complicated or not? So I guess that the answer is it depends and so on. So who wants to start? Because this question is for both of you.
Maybe I can start because my country already did it. Yeah.
Okay, please.
Yeah. So no, there is no "it depends" answer in this situation. This is really long process. It's hard. Here we are talking only about fiscalization, but we have to have in mind pension system, payment system, banking system, insurance system. So everything is changing. And you need to do your homework as a government to prepare that this transition goes as smoothly as possible, so that consumers, that citizens, do not feel this change. So for them, it has to be like, I will use now Serbian example, let's say dinar euro, and that's it. For me as a consumer, I want that. I don't want any, if I do this, then these situations. So for consumers and citizens, it really has to be as simple as possible. So it's very long process. I would even say it's painful process, but if done correctly, then everything looks easy.
Yes, I would say also it is really really hard and process that will last a couple of years. Alexander already said it would last in Croatia and certainly it will be in Bulgaria. And this is a currently really major project. I mean, it stopped all other projects in Bulgaria. As already mentioned, from a fiscalization perspective, it will be require really changing in both legal but also technical regulations, especially in terms of the fiscal devices. But maybe to see how to, let's say, see, in my opinion, how that it will be. So we have a lot of mandatory steps that needs to be fulfilled. Before that, first, that official law must be put on the public debate, must be voted on the national embassy, needs to be signed by the president, and then needs to be officially published. So these are a lot of, let's say, steps that can, let's say, state that this will require a lot of time and it will not be easy, certainly. Also, because of this change, it will affect other laws, such as the VAT Act, which is really important for the fiscalization in Bulgaria. Also, the most fiscal related regulation number 18 will also have to be changed, also put on the public debate, voted, signed by the president, and also this, because of all of that and all of that procedures, not only from a fiscalization perspective, but other political and economists, it will be a huge project, definitely.
Now I can say that I understand why is there postponement that is happening at the moment. And one short question: do you know? Did ever happened to postponement moves to some earlier phase? Like they always do postponement for some other time from 2024 to 2025, but do you think that they can make some decision and be like, let's do it in 2024? I think we could manage it. Do you think that's possible?
I think it's not in the case of Bulgaria because all of these, let's say, problems that are ongoing there. I mean, everything is possible, but I think for the Bulgaria it is not possible. But as I already said, we need to wait from official law to be introduced, to we see official dates, to see is all of these, let's say, topics that I mentioned about concept of the law. It will be the same, maybe something will be changed, but we need to see how this will be handled. But I think before January 2025, I think that will not be possible in Bulgaria.
So we could say, citizens, you can sleep well until 2025. Okay, great. Thank you. So for the end, I would like to make some conclusions. So it would be nice to tell us more if there is something else that is happening there, to summarize the topic we covered today, and if there are some announcements to tell them.
Well, maybe I can start.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, from Croatian perspective, I don't expect any new announcements or regulations. Everything is live, let's say it like that. So the only things that I expect is that some laws still needs to be adjusted. So in some laws we still have some provisions that stipulate some kind of fee or fine, and those amounts are stipulated in kunas. So and that's one of the issues again with this whole process. So you really need to change every law in your country that has some mention of your national currency, and you need to change it so that it is stipulated in euros. So those are the only changes that I expect in the future. And there is still this mandatory period of dual displaying of prices that will last until the end of this year. So all prices have to be dually displayed until 31st December 2023. So maybe just some kind of decision that this period is over could be expected. But more or less, I think that from Croatian side, there will be no surprises.
Okay, at least something.
Yes.
Nicolina, you can do it. We are
Yeah.
listening.
Okay, so basically, for Bulgaria, if I can make conclusion, everything depends about the ministry and about the government and their decisions. So this will affect fiscalization, not only fiscalization, but other, let's say, businesses. It is clear that Bulgaria will join the euro as soon as it is clear that membership criteria will be met for Eurozone, and which could be, as I already said, January 1st, 2025. But in the view of this dynamic situation, in terms of inflation, it is really difficult to specify this with certainty. Also, as we already discussed, political issues and general elections have really impact of the monitoring and presenting this change. But maybe for our fiscalization related listeners and generally audience, I can say before the official start period with euro as official currency, we have certain steps which we are awaiting, and this is introduction of the draft law, end of public debate, official law to be voted in parliament and presented, technical specification for the fiscal devices, fiscal regulations number 18, new firmware for the fiscal device, and generally new rules about homologation of those fiscal devices. So a lot of how can
Nothing
I say?
special.
Yeah, not so much. Also, I have Militz already said about fiscal portal. It is a place where I published all the mandatory informations about this introduction from the general perspective and also from the fiscalization perspective. So everything can be found there. Also, I have one document there which, let's say, explain all of this in more detailed way. I know, Militz, you think, oh, how many details I had, but believe me, I try to be short, but I like to talk, as you can see. So basically, it is a lot more that you can expect from me.
There is a lot to talk and write about when it comes to this topic.
Yes, also because
Yeah, I
Alexander
can only
already said,
imagine.
yeah, it is huge project, definitely.
Also, I wanted to ask, so you are like updating fiscal portal
Yes,
daily. So if there is any change, we can find it there.
yes.
Okay, so that is the official source of information. And guys, you can use it. Here is the link. If you're watching from YouTube, you can click on it. So feel free. Okay, I think that's it for today and for today's topic and today's event. I must say, this is why I love doing retail talk with you guys. I had a really great time, and you really gave us a lot of information, important information, and these are some things that we should talk about. There was a lot of controversial topics, such as inflation, governments, political reasons, and stuff like that, which are really important, which are really affecting fiscalization in the first place. And then citizens and their mindset, and they're like making maybe sometimes even the fear. I'm really glad that we covered all this topic. We have some comments. Thank you, Tara, for watching us. And of course, I want to say to everyone else, thank you for watching. If you have any other questions according to the topic, Bulgaria especially, then you can go and jump on our fiscal portal, or you can write to us at marketing@fiscal-solutions.com, and then we will see what we can do for you. Thank you once again, and until next time. If you two want to say something, you have like minutes, 2 minutes.
Alexander, you can go first.
I would just say thanks to both of you for this really good conversation. And thanks to everyone for watching us. That's from my side.
Also, I
nice.
want to thank everyone and you, Milica, and you, Alexander, because as I already said, your work is a great example and maybe something that will be also in Bulgaria. And I am looking forward for another hour retail talk when everything, let's say, officially will be confirmed, and when we have official dates and rules, maybe we can join again and to compare these situations, because for the Bulgaria this is only an introduction phase, but I believe that in the future we will have a lot of things to discuss again. So yeah, I am looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Definitely. And for the end, I want to say, if you want to stay updated for free, then you can subscribe to our newsletter. So you go to our official website and you will have the pop-up, and you can just sign up there and you will receive once a month the most important fiscal news directly from our fiscal portal. That will be all. Thank you for watching once again, and until next time. Bye.
Bye bye.